Okay, so this is week 6 Monday. Are on no longer on ratios. We are now moving on to algebra for math 6. All right, question number 1. It's a self-graphing solution represented by each inequality. Inequality just means this. So less than is this right here. Less than greater to is this with the equal sign, okay? Greater than is the symbol. Greater than equal to has the symbol right here, okay? So I'll tell you what it means once we get started with some of the examples. So for the first one, it says, I don't know what that says. X minus 3 is less than 7. Is that what it is? Okay. Think of this as an equal sign, okay? You want to move that 3 over to the right side. What's opposite of a negative 3? So add 3 on the left side of this sign, add 3 on the right side of that sign. You have to go ahead and balance it. So whatever you do on one side of the inequality sign, you have to balance it on the other side. Do you see that? So this part cancels, and then what's left is you bring down the x less than 10. So your answer is x is less than 10. So what does that mean? That means any number less than 10 or smaller than 10. Like that will mean x can be 9, 8, 7, 6, 0, -1, negative infinity. All of those numbers are less than 10. Do you see that? It can also mean it could be 9.999 because technically that number is less than 10, but it cannot equal 10. It has to be smaller than 10. Does that make sense? That's what the less than greater than means, okay? So your answer could be any of the numbers smaller than 10. Because let's say, for example, let x be 2, right? If I plug in 2 right here, I will have 2 is less than 10. Is that true or false? True. So it will work. Any number less than 10 will work, okay? For B, you have a 6 and a -9. What's opposite of a -9? +9 on both sides. Okay. You do have a 6 and a -9, but since the 6 is stuck with a D, you got to get rid of that negative first and then get rid of the 6 second. Okay. So once you do that, this part cancels. You bring down the 60 is greater than 15 plus 9 is 24. Opposite of 6 times D is what? What's opposite of times? Divide. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times D is just D. Do you see how the D cancels? 24 divided by 6 is? D is greater than 4. So what does that mean? That means D can equal to any number bigger than 4, like 4.5. It could be 4.6. Those are bigger, right? It could be 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to any number to positive infinity. Do you see that? Okay, that's what it means. D can also be 4.01. It could be 4.0001 because 4.00001 is still bigger than 4, right? But D cannot equal to 4. D cannot equal to 3 because 3 is smaller. It's any number bigger than 4. Do you see that? If there is an equal sign like this, you see the equal sign right there, then it can equal to 4. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's take a look at number C, letter C. For C, Now you have a letter on both sides. You have a letter on the left side and a letter on the right side. You always, and you want to put a little star, always move the smaller variable. Between 4x and 2x, which one's smaller? Which one's smaller? 4 or 2? Which number is smaller, Grayson?
2.
Opposite of positive 2x is a? Okay. Since we're moving this number over here, what do you have to do with the 5? You got to move it to the opposite side. So what's opposite of a positive 5? Minus 5, minus 5. Do you see that? So always move the smaller variable, then move the opposite number. Okay, the opposite number here is 5, right? Because you moved the 2x over to the side, move the 5 number to the right side. Do you see that? Okay, so then let's cancel a few things, because you can cancel a few things. What cancels? 5 and negative 5 cancels from the left side. 2x and negative 2x cancels, right? So then when you're left with this part right here, what's 4x minus 2x? What's negative 7 minus 15? Now we're going to go ahead and divide by 2, because remember this is a 2 times x. That part cancels. X is less or equal to, what's negative 12 divided by 2? Negative 6. X is less than or equal to. The way you read this is x is less than or equal to negative 6. Because there's an equal to, it means it could be equal to 6. So what is x equal to? It could be anything smaller or equal to 6. It could be negative 6. It could be what's also smaller than 6. Negative 7, negative 6.5, right? Because that's still smaller than 6. Negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, all the way to negative infinity. It could also be negative 6.001, because that's still smaller than 6. Do you see that? Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to the next question. Number 2. If A equals negative 4, B equals 2, and C equals negative 3, and then D equals 2 over 3, whenever you see those numbers, you're going to go ahead and replace them with these numbers, or those letters. You're going to replace with those numbers, right? So 2A, what is A again? A is negative 4. Don't forget the square. Minus 3C. What is C again? Negative 3. D, what is D again? 2/3. We're going to have to do PEMDAS. You remember PEMDAS? P-E. M and D are on the same. A to S is on the same. With these ones, remember it's always what? First from left to right. Do you remember that? Okay. So you don't have anything with a parenthesis really, because there's nothing inside the parenthesis, right? So then you're going to focus on the exponent. Okay, what's negative 4 squared? That's saying negative 4 times negative 4. What is that equal to? Next, we're going to do multiplication. Left to right. Multiplication or division. There's no division. There's only multiplication. So left to right, that comes first. 2 times 16 is? Still we have some more multiplication. Which one comes first? This one right here, and then multiply this one right there. This piece first. What's negative 3 times negative 3? Positive 9. So 32 plus 9 times 2 over 3. Do you see that? Still got multiplication. Now to work on that. So you put a 1 underneath here. What is 9 times 2 over 1 times 3? Nine times 2 is? 1 times 3 is? What's 18 divided by 3? So what's 32 plus 6? Okay, that's your answer. Next, for A is a negative 4 minus C. C is going to be a negative 3 squared plus 6 times 2/3, okay? And again, we don't have any parentheses that have more than 2 terms. And what I mean by that is like, if you have a parenthesis as like 4 minus 6, 4 or 4 minus 6, please stop doing that. Then you will do parenthesis first. Do you see that? But you don't have anything. You only have 1 term inside. So we don't need to do parentheses. There's no parenthesis. But we do have an exponent. Hold on. Do you have anything in parentheses? No, we don't. I just told you, if it's in a parenthesis, it needs to have 2 terms. There's no more than 1 term in the parentheses. So no parentheses. Exponent. You did this before. You should remember how to do this. What's negative 3 times negative 3? You got to be very careful with this. Do you see how the double negative here makes it a little bit messy? This negative goes here. This negative is gone because negative times the negative is a positive 9. Do you see that? What's next? Left to right, multiply. Which gives you negative 16 minus. You can get rid of the parenthesis because that doesn't do anything. Plus. Multiply. What's 6 times 2 divided by 3?
4.
Now, you have minus, minus, plus. Remember, if it's addition and subtraction, always first from left to right. First one, what does that give you? What does that give you? What's your answer? No. If you don't know how to add and subtract integers, that's a big issue. You understand? You need to practice more with us. Okay, moving on. Use the distributive property. This is what the distributive property is. How the distributive property work is you take the number in the front and you multiply, you distribute into the parenthesis. So be A times B minus A times C. It doesn't always have to be like this. It can also go backwards. like A plus C. D could be over here. And in which case you take the D, you distribute it back into the parenthesis going backwards, which is A times D plus C times D. You see that? So for 3A, the number in front is -7. When you multiply it in here, what it is 7 times 4A minus 7 times -5K. What is that going to give you? B. The number in front is 3. Multiply it in here. So you have 3 times 5G minus 3 times 14. What is the first one to give you? What's the second one? Next one. Use factoring for part C. So for part C, what you're doing is opposite. So factoring is opposite of distributive property. Okay? Between 18 and 30, what is a number that you can take out? What's the greatest common factor between them? What divides into 18 and also divides into 30? Good. So what you can do, since it's 6 times 3 gives me 18. Do you see that? 6 times 5 gives me 30. Do you see that? What do they have in common? So you could take the 6 out. 6 comes out here. You put the parenthesis there. What's left? Now, if you're checking this, you just take that number and multiply it in. Does that give you the same answer that you started off with? Yeah, so that way you know you did it right. Does that make sense? Okay, I know this is kind of fast, but hopefully your teacher will go over this a little bit more in depth. Okay, 4. How many numbers are there? Do you know? I know, but there's 4, there's 5. How many numbers are there after that? Oh, that's it? Okay, perfect. All right. All right, let's take a look at number 4. For number 4, simplify and combine line terms. Okay. So do you see how there's a parenthesis here and a parenthesis here, and what they have here is a plus, right? If there's a plus in between 2 parentheses like this, what that means is no change in signs. When I say sign, I'm talking about plus and minus, okay? So all we're gonna do is we're gonna rewrite it without parentheses. So what that looks like is like this: 4W plus 3A plus 5W minus 9A. Nothing changed, right? Now, you have to group them together. W's with the W's. Do you see that? A's with the A's. What's 4W plus 5W? 4 plus 5 is? What's 3A minus 9A? Negative, right? That's your answer, okay? Take a look at B. With B, how is it different than A? How is that different than A? Do you see the 4 right here? You will need to distribute that first, okay? So then you have 3x minus 5. Nothing changed there, right? You still have the plus sign right here, so put the plus sign right there. 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times 3 is 12. Now, does that look very similar to what you did in A? The only thing you have to do is, the only difference is you have to distribute the 4, okay? Then, since this is a plus, what does that mean? No change in signs. And you get rid of the parentheses. Combine like terms. Do you see the yellows? What did all the yellows have? They have an X. Do you see that? Okay. What did the greens have? Why did they combine the greens together? There's no X's. You see that? So look at the yellows. 3 plus 8X's. Negative 5 plus 12 is. And that's your answer. Okay. Now let's take a look at C. What's different about C than A and B? Do you see the minus right there? If there's a minus, what that means, you have to change the signs to opposite in the second parenthesis, okay? So the first parenthesis, nothing changed, AC plus 3. Do you see that? Second parenthesis, positive 12C becomes a negative 12C, right? Negative 6 becomes a positive 6, okay? Now, after that, you do exactly the same. Combine the C's together. How many C's do you have then? Eight minus 12 is? Negative 4C. How many numbers do you have? 3 plus 6 is? Okay, for D, how is D different than the other two?
It has a number at the beginning.
Yep. We're going to distribute it. What would it distribute to? Multiply it out.
1 and 14.
Good. What else does it have that I have to worry about?
And subtraction.
Yes. So if you have a negative, that means change signs where? Second parenthesis, right? So that positive 10n becomes a negative 10n. Negative 12 becomes a positive 12. So let's go ahead and combine the n's. N's goes with the n's. Then the numbers, you combine with the numbers. How many n's do you have? No, 21 minus 10n is? What's 14 plus 12? Okay, that's your answer. She gave you a lot of homework tonight. Jeez. All right, let's take a look at the last part of 5. Okay. So for number 5, it says solve each equation, check by substituting the solution. So check by substituting the solution into the equation, evaluating when distributing negatives. Okay. You want to get the D by itself, right? But you get the 5 and the 8. Which one do you get rid of first? The number that's not attached to the letter. So when you do that, this part cancels, and you have 8D equals negative 16. Divided by 8 on both sides, D equals negative 2. When you check your answer, you just plug it in, okay? Whenever you see a D, what do you replace it with? Negative 2. So 8 times negative 2 plus 5, does it equal negative 11? I'm putting a question mark right there. Well, let's take a look. 8 times -2 is -16. -16 plus 5, does it equal -11? Yes, it does. That's how you check. This is how you check your work. Do you see that? Okay, for B, which one do you get rid of first? Which number? Oh, actually, this one's different. How is this one different?
Because
There are two variables. Okay, you see how there's a 6p and there is a 9p there? Before there's only one letter, right? So remember, you always move the smaller variable. Which one's smaller? 6p or 9p? So opposite of a positive 6p is a, yeah, so we're gonna minus 6p on both sides. Left side, right side. When you do that, 6p cancels, you bring down the 15. What's 9 minus 6p?
P.
Okay, now what do I do? How do you get rid of the 3? What's opposite of 3 times p? No, divided by 3. You want a p by itself to get the p by itself. 3 cancels. P is now by itself on the right side. Do you see that? 15 divided by 3 is? Let's check your answers. That means wherever you see a p, what do you replace the p with? What was your answer? P equals what? 5. So when you check your answer, you replace p with the number 5. So 6 times 5 plus 15 equals 9 times 5. Do you see that? 6 times 3 is 30. Does 30 plus 15 equals 9 times 5? Does it equal? Yeah, that's how you know you got it right. I know this is difficult, okay? Hopefully your teacher will go over this with you. Like this is just a pretest, but it's a lot. Okay? Okay, let's go on to C. Okay, you see how there's two variables on both sides? Remember the rule is you always move what? You always move the smaller variable. Which one's smaller? Minus 2b on the left, minus 2b on the right. But if you move the 2b, now which one do you have to move? Which number do you have to move? No, you already moved the 2b from the left side. You got to move 12 because 12 is on the other side. You see that? And you'll be able to see in a second. This part cancels, right? You bring down the -8. 7 minus 2 is 5b plus 12. Which number do you need to move now? You got to move the 12 so you can isolate the b by itself. Opposite of a positive 12 is a 12 cancels. 5b equals what's -8 minus 12? You got to know your integers. How do you get rid of the b or the 5? B is now isolated. What's -20 divided by 5? Positive or negative? Good. That's your answer. Okay. And I want you to check this on your own, as in like 2 times -4 minus 8 equals 7 times -4 plus 12. Do they equal each other? I want you to check on that on your own. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at D. What's different about D? What do you see of the do first? Distribute the 2, right? 5 plus blah, blah, blah equals 13. When you distribute the 2, what do you get? Plus or minus. Okay, now what do you do? CLT, which stands for combine like terms. So which one are you going to combine together? No, because you're on opposite signs. You see the equal sign? Do you have anything you could combine that's on the same side? Yes. 5 and 14. They're the same numbers. Do you see how they're the same terms? There's no t involved. You see that? You can combine them together. If you have 2t minus 4 minus 6 plus 8t, look at this one right here, right? Do you see how these two numbers are numbers without any letters? You can combine them. Yeah, but 13 is on the other side of the equation, so you leave it alone. Okay? There's an equal sign. Leave 13 alone. It's on the other side of equal sign. Do you see that? Okay, so leave it alone. What's 5 minus 14? Okay, now what do you move? Step 3. No, you can't get rid of the 2 right now. Your job is to get t by itself. Okay? T is not by itself. You have a 2 and a negative 9. Which number do you move first? Yep. What's opposite of a negative 9? Yep. Add the 9 on the left side, add the 9 on the right side. That part cancels. 2t equals, what's 13 plus 9? Last step, how do you get rid of the 2? Divide 2 on both sides. When you divide 2 on both sides, the 2 cancels. T is by itself. What's 22 divided by 2? 11. Now, you will have to check this, okay? So, when you check this, you plug in t for what is t equal to? What is t equal to? Yeah, so whenever you see a t, you put 11 there. Do you see the 11 right there? Minus 7. That needs to equal to 13. Does it equal 13? I'm putting a question mark because you're going to check that, okay? All right, we're almost there. Oh my gosh, you guys have a lot of homework today. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the last part, which is E and F. Okay, when you look at E, what are you going to do first? What do you have to do? Step 1. You see the equal signs right there? On the left side, do you see how there's like 2 M's right here? CLT, which stands for what? Combine line terms, okay? Do you see that? So when you go ahead and combine like terms, which terms are alike? What are you going to combine? M's. Do you see the M's right there? What would that be? 3M minus 5M is negative. Make sure you bring the negative 4 down. Okay, same thing. Nothing else changed, right? The only thing we changed is we combined the M's, right? Now you can't combine anything anymore. Do you see on the left side you have an M and a number? On the right side you have an M and a number. There's nothing else to combine, right? Step 2, what do you do? Which one's a smaller variable? Nope. Negative 2. What's the opposite of a negative 2M? Right here. Negative 2M. What's the opposite of a negative 2M? Positive 2M on the left side, positive 2M on the right side. Now, this part cancels. Get negative 4 equals, what's 4 plus 2M? What's 4 plus 2? Okay, Step number 3. Again, you want to get m by itself, but m is not by itself. You have a 6 and a negative 16. Which one do you get rid of first? No. 4 is on the other side of the equal sign. Your job is to get m by itself, which means you got to get rid of the 6 and you got to get rid of the 16 on the right side. Which number do you want to get rid of first? Can't get rid of the 6. It's attached to the m. You always get rid of the number that's not attached to the letter. Yep. Move negative 16. What's opposite of a negative 16? Yep. Add the 16 on the right side. Add the 16 on the left side. This part cancels, right? Bring down the 6m. What's negative 4 plus 16? $12. Step 4. How do you get rid of the 6? Well, the m. What's opposite but times? And what is your answer? M equals? Got it. This is a lot. I get it. Okay, it's confusing and it's a lot. Let's check. Okay, whenever you see an m, what are you going to replace that m with? No, not 2m, just 2. So 2, 2, 2. Does it equal each other? That's your job. You got to check it. Okay? Okay. Last one, Grayson. This is a lot. I get it. You're frustrated, and this is a lot of work because this is like something in high school they will teach you in like 2 weeks, not just one day. Okay? Let's take a look at D. What do you see with D? Step number 1, what do you do? Yep. Distribute 2. What would that give you? Positive or negative? 2 times negative 7. What is that going to give you? Yep. Step 2. What's your next step? I feel like this is very similar to the one we just did. Yeah, I feel like it's very similar. Oh, you know what? I did do that. Hold on. I'm doing the wrong one. Hold on. Stop right now. Okay, we're supposed to do F. Duh. Here we go. Okay, so for F, yes? Step number 1, what do you do? Not 3, negative 3. Okay? Do you see how I'm writing 5K? Nothing else changed over here? Do you see how everything is exactly the same? The only thing that changed is this piece right here. I gotta rewrite that. What is that gonna be once you distribute it? Negative. Negative. Okay. Good. Step 2, what do you do? What do you do next? Look at the left side. Nope, can't do that. You gotta combine like term first. What do you combine? K. How many K's do you have once you combine it? No, it's 5 minus 6. Positive or negative? You write it everything down exactly how it is. Okay. Step number 3, what do you move? You always move the smaller letter. So which one has a smaller letter? Yes. Move negative K. Opposite of a negative K is a positive K. But do you see how I aligned the K's together though? Like I didn't put K over here by the 6. Do you see that? Yeah, it has to be K's with K's. So then this part cancels. Bring down the negative 12. Bring down the 6. What's negative 3K plus K? It's like saying plus 1. So what's negative 3 plus 1? There's a 1 in front of it. Yeah, negative 2K. Okay, step number 4. What do you do next? Yes, minus 6 on both sides. Okay, so move positive 6, so minus 6. So then this part cancels. You bring down the negative 2k equals, what's negative 12 minus 6? Good. Then last step. What do? By what? Nope. If it's a negative, you divide by negative 2. Do you see that? Okay. So then the negative 2 cancels. K is equal to what? What's positive 9? Now, we're not done yet because you have to check, right? So how do we check? What do? I replace every K with a what? Yeah. Okay, do you see how I'm going to replace a K? That will be with a 9. 9 and a 9. And I'll put question mark. Does that equal each other? You're going to have to show the workbook for that. I'll actually go over this one with you, okay? But the other ones are not as difficult. So with this one, how are you going to work on this? 5 times 9 is 45. Do you see that? Minus. Here, do you see how in the parenthesis, you actually have something you can do? You have a negative 3. 2 times 9 is 18. Do you agree with that? What's 18 plus 4? 22, right? Here, you got to work on negative 3 times 9 first. 6 minus 27, right? Before you subtract, you got to do the multiplication first. Negative 3 times 22 is 66, right? 6 minus 27 is a negative 21. 45 minus 66, does it give you negative 21? Yes, it does. Okay, so then you know answer 9 equals K is what? It's correct. Because since these two equal, you know your answer 9 equals K is correct. If it doesn't equal, then you know it's not. Okay? All right, that was a lot. So that concludes our math for week 6 Monday. And Grace, I'm telling you right now, this is a lot. This is like a whole entire unit. So I hope that your teacher will just go over this with you guys in the next couple of weeks, because you should not know how to do all of this by yourself. Okay, because this is a lot. You understand? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the video, and then you can go watch the video one more time and then figure it out. Okay, because this is a lot, but so if you're a little bit confused, it's okay. You're supposed to be confused because this, again, like I said, is a freaking lot of work. Okay, it's a lot. All right, I'm gonna conclude the video.